Hello, 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 and welcome to another Daily Code Fun. I am one lion. I am also confused. So, thank you so much for being here. Even if you're lurking, Irish Talent Games, Balint, aka Science Streams. Let's start off with a couple of shows. Irish Junkie. That's his channel. And Balint's channel. I do want to do proper shoutouts later, but for now, you guys are just getting links. Oops. Capitalization. I'm not lazy. Anyway, um, there you go. Um, so those two are some fantastic streamers. Valent does a whole bunch of science stuff. Looking really, really, really uncomfortably close at ants and larvae and um, uh, oh, I can't think of the word right now. Things trapped in not resin, tree sap for a long period of time, condensed, properly preserved. I can't think of the term for that. Anyway, you know the word. Hi, I'm One Lion. I am a .NET developer. Actually, I'm just a developer focused on doing .NET predominantly, and I really, really enjoy it. I endorse it. I advocate for it. I love .NET. Tommy's here as well. Hello, Tommy. My eyebrows itching. Anyway, let's get to the screen. We've been playing around with a financial management application, full stack development application from scratch, from the ground up, not using any external libraries at the moment, not even CSS libraries. So we started with doing a whole bunch of brainstorming, ideas, thoughts on what we're going to have the app do. Then we sketched out some of the underlying data structures we're going to want. And then we are now doing some UI design. And yeah, just going from there. So that's where we currently are. And I am doing well this morning, Tommy. How are you doing? Hopefully it's a fantastic day for you. If not, let us know why not. It is Community Day here on our channel, which means that I invite, oh, I don't even have that prepared. I invite people into our Discord voice channel to talk about technology, to talk about software, to talk about development after I get it set up. Settings, voice and video output. Choose this device. Cool. So if you do have any topics that you want to talk about, then just let me know. And I will pull you and then join any of the voice channels in Discord, which is over here, obviously. And I will pull you into the voice channel so we can hear you speak. If you want to be speaking out loud, of course, speaking to where people can hear you. If you actually don't want to be heard, then definitely just talk about whatever it is here in chat. And we'd be happy to discuss. Yeah. Okay. Tommy is saying my day though is going great. Oh, I missed something. I think there should be a segment of the day that's no longer morning but not yet afternoon for like between 10 and 12, to be honest. Like morning before noon, afternoon. It's called mid-morning. Although, you know, saying when morning starts. I like of course I do, the terms that the Japanese use throughout their day. Ohio for good morning, konnichiwa for good day, konbanwa for good evening. And those are the three parts of the day. And konnichiwa is said usually around 10 a.m. So it's not like good afternoon, it's just good day. So we are well into our day by 10 a.m. most of the time. So let's just call that day. Good day. Anyway, and he then said, "My day, though, is great. I appreciate it. We got replacement desks in the office, and 90% of my work setup is stuff from home. So I spent most of this morning redoing all my cable management stuff." Ooh, I hate cable management. I could use some, I could do, I could make some better efforts in my cable management. I had a clear vision, and then I ended up just not not doing anything with it. Yeah, I just had to check, and it's pretty bad. But one day, of course, always one day. But I'm gonna get back to designing this, but definitely bring up some conversation. Let me know about things that you want to talk about that are interesting to you, that are technology related first, and then we can talk about non-technology things in a more in-depth way, like, baseball or whatever. Whatever. I don't mean to say that in such a negative tone. Whatever things you happen to find interesting, I would like for you to feel like you can talk about those things today, like baseball or whatever. Anyway, Tommy said, "I find it odd, or less, wait, well, less segments would also be appropriate, yeah, for parts of the day, as opposed to adding more. But if you want to be more, um, allow for businesses, because that's mainly what partitioning is for quite a few things, because human brains and humans just need that. How do I mark the passage of time? And one of those by partitioning it into morning, afternoon, evening kind of things, which we don't really need, but we have it. Um, so there is partitioning. There is also, where was I going with that? The more partitions we have, the more businesses have an opportunity to use those partitions to structure their services and goods and all of that stuff around. So if it's commonly accepted that afternoon is after 12, and lunchtime is around afternoon, then most businesses are usually like, we don't take business from 11:30 to 1 or something. Except for, like, whatever. Those are just thoughts. They're not necessarily true. They are observations that I have made. Yeah. Yeah. And Tommy said, "I find it oddly satisfying, I guess. Menial tasks are something I enjoy because they tend to hold my focus." Menial is the right word. Then I guess we could talk about like sports or something, if anyone would even want to. So I have a coffee social, morning social every Friday, virtually, with the Phoenix and Denver teams at Sagetti. And I just can't seem to come up with topics to just randomly talk about. It's easy for me to come up with topics if they're technology related, but if I did that during the morning social, then it would just, for a lot of people, it would feel like work. But just about every time it's, let's talk about the heat wave, let's talk about the weather, let's talk about the flooding, let's talk about baseball, which I don't even remember which one that is. Baseball is, I didn't want to say it out loud during the meeting, but that's the one with the, um, it has a ball. I know that. And I think that that's the one where you take the ball and try to put it in a goal one of those 3 or 4 sports. Maybe. Am I close? The thing that I didn't particularly enjoy about today's coffee social was there was one dominating person, is how I want to word it, um, who has a very, and it's not that he is actually this way, but he has kind of a confrontational demeanor in his approach to saying things, even though it's all just because he wants to converse with people. He enjoys the conversation, doesn't matter what it's about. He just wants to be involved with the conversation. It's the one where you hit the ball with the stick while someone else tries to run from corner to corner in a trapezoid course. I thought that that was cricket. I'm confused now. Kidding. Um, but like this person tended to try to inject themselves in every conversation that anyone tried to bring up. So if someone said something about their locale, he would have a 20-minute story about him being in that locale, or the weather, or floods, or whatever else. And it's like, there are like 10 people here that are all trying to do their, I would like to talk about this topic because I don't get this opportunity. And we're finally in a group setting where I can talk about the things that are interesting to me. And he's like, well, that's mine. I'm going to take your topic and make it mine and say things about it because I need to be part of that. And then it came across just so, challenge me. I dare you, challenge me on my knowledge on this subject because I need you to know that I know about this topic. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that way. So I was quiet the whole time because I had no idea how to even mention anything that I would be interested in talking about with that group. Like there was someone that mentioned they are currently in the process of getting their Azure certification. And I'm like, hey, that's something I'm doing too. Which certification are you going for? And they're doing the Azure fundamentals. And I'm like, are you using Microsoft Learn courses? So I'm asking them questions for them to talk more about themselves and what they're doing. That's what I thought, these social things are for. But really, they're for how can I get it to where people listen to me talk? Kind of like what I do with my streams. But if you're going to do that, just have a stream where you're in charge of the topic and the conversation. That's terrible. I'm terrible. Oh my gosh. Such an opinionated person. But I'm not saying that I'm right in any way, shape, or form because I really don't know how to navigate those types of situations. Three. Okay. I'm done. Moving on. Time for you guys. Back to you guys. So Tommy said, absolutely, I'm horrible at conversation, but like my coworkers asked me yesterday about what he should look for when buying a laptop, and I ended up giving him an essay. Yes, something that you actually are interested in talking about and giving information about. And I think that's kind of like my failing is that I use conversation as a way to get information for something that I am either working on or interested in or just needing information about. And that's not how most people use conversation. They just use them so that they can hear their own voice. In my opinion. Mine is for the expression of ideas and for hearing other people's ideas. Yeah, and I feel terrible for that sometimes. I feel like a jerk. No, you weren't supposed to be changing just that. You're supposed to change all of them. No, I said all of them. The entire color. There you go. I'm trying to come up with a way to make this look like these neumorphic stylings, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get my app to look like that. At least not on this top part. It may down here, but I think I would need much softer colors. Like these colors are very close to each other. And that's how we're getting that. So like the background color of the actual raised item is the same color as the background color of the thing that it's sitting on. It just has this drop shadow to the top and left and bottom and right that make it look like it's coming off of the page, like connected to. And they have a great diagram down here of the effect that this one makes. But moving on. Tommy continued, I understand that people like that, I think, may not understand the idea of listening to listen instead of listening to reply in regards to conversation. I agree with you. Either that or it's an attention thing. He even made the comment, are you guys noticing my nervous habit of trying to fill the empty space with conversation? It's like if I hear empty space, then I want to fill it. I feel like it needs to be filled. And it's like, if you're aware of that, maybe I didn't say anything like this, but maybe you can consider that people aren't saying anything because you're taking up all of the available space to be able to say anything. Like your presence is big, and people kind of feel intimidated by that, or just like they don't have room to be able to express any information. That kind of thing. It could come down to the conversation we had months ago about personality types and Enneagrams too. I think he was an 8, if that helps. And I say that a lot. People are like, you think everyone is an 8 that's just abrasive, don't you? And it's like, no, I considered this. I promise. I considered more than just that one encounter. It's the entirety of his demeanor, his approach, his word choice, even. But moving on, where in order to feel like you are actually engaged with people, you might have to actively do something like inject in a conversation. Otherwise, you might see yourself as not giving them enough of your attention. True. Yeah, it is also a perspective thing where it could be from his perspective, he is doing active listening by saying, here's this thing that you're presenting. I'm going to show you how that relates to me so that you know you're talking about something that is valuable to the group. At least one person in the group. Which I definitely appreciate and understand. But my my obvious issue is that I just don't really like to talk about things that aren't going to eventually, and this sounds terrible, eventually benefit me as far as my either helping me strengthen my values, which is usually what I look for, which is also a bad thing, or changing my ideas about certain values, understanding them more. This is what I mean by conversation. This is awesome. So Tommy is also saying the abrasiveness in tone, I don't actually think leads into their personality as much as people might think. Some people are completely unaware of the way they appear while speaking tone attitude-wise, whereas the way or times they inject into conversations say way more. Yeah. and word choice, but it really does also um, yes, that is exactly it. So there's this podcast called The Big Hormone Enneagram. I interrupted myself. There's a podcast called The Big Hormone Enneagram that it's not for everyone, but I think they do a great job of bringing the Enneagram down to a real people level. Like it isn't just some tool that's out there that's woo woo. It's they make it real and they make it blunt, maybe a little too blunt at times. And maybe they go too far at times as well. But it's still a good counterbalance for the way that a lot of people view the Enneagram. Anyway, there's a guy on there named Emeka, and he is an 8, and a very, very self-aware 8 that just has so much insight into his personality type and others. But when I heard him talking about this, he's like this exact type of situation. He's like, there is this kind of need to stir energy, for one. Like if the energy feels stale, he feels like he needs to be the one to stir that energy and make it move. And two, he also has the need to inject interestingness. And I'm like, that makes sense. But interestingness is subjective, and a lot of the things that this guy was talking about, which if he is doing this, of course, so this is grant me that the person was actually coming from the perspective of an 8 behavioral pattern. Um, and most people just call that abrasive. Um, but if he was in fact trying to inject interestingness because the air felt stale, he would need to keep in mind that the things that he finds interesting, he is not the judge of what interesting is to an individual. So it's like presenting it as you need to know this because it's getting stagnant. We need this interestingness. And it's like that's really not interesting to me. I actually want to eject right now. I thought about leaving so many times and I'm like, that would just be rude because I'm here now. And then just leaving without actually saying anything while said person is talking would just be rude. And I don't want to be rude. I want to show him respect because one of my core values is to show people a minimum amount of respect, a base level of respect. And I think that that would have violated it. But yeah, that is definitely a thing. So, did I finish reading your statement? Um, you don't have to be done. Absolutely. I mean, if you're busy, absolutely get back to what you're doing. Today is community day. I don't expect to get very much done, but if you want, do. Yeah, I think that this needs to be sharper or something. And oh. Oh no no no, that's what it was. Okay. Yeah. So what if I made the base color of the inside of these text boxes the same color as the background? Let's do that. Because the inner shadows should be the things that are coloring it or that are shading it dark and light. And in the stream now, oh geez, that's hard to see, but it is the effect. It is absolutely the effect. I like it. I like it a lot. Oh no, what do you know? It's a Bit Gamey. Hello, Bit Gamey. Thank you so much for the raid. This is an amazing person. Like everyone that has been a part of this community that we're all a part of have been just super duper cool, and I couldn't ask to be part of a better community. You guys are all amazing. Let me give him a quick shout out. It is over 9,000. If you guys don't know Big Gamey, he is just so laid back. He's currently working on adding stuff to his bot, and he also works on games. You guys all should know him by now. Like anyone that watches me. Here's him.
Do you like bananas?
I do.
Caffeinated water. I will say that when I go into Dollar Tree,
oh yeah, this one,
$1.25 tree, as some like to call it now, since they recently put up their prices. They do have quite a range. I mean, that was the first place that I found the sparkling ice that someone had recommended.
I love sparkling ice.
You have to watch their prices sometimes because
I love sparkling ice. Sparkling ice is so good. Strongly recommended. Yes, if you haven't drinking sparkling ice, especially their caffeine version, give it a shot. Might enjoy. Gorkity, hello, 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 hello. So, for those of you that are new to my stream, however, I am I keep calling myself a .NET developer, but I am just a developer who happens to be working a lot with .NET. I absolutely love and enjoy working with .NET, writing software in .NET. My current full-time job is doing .NET development. It is cross-platform development at that, which makes it super duper fun, super duper cool, in my opinion. Yeah, so what we decided to do, I used to be able to stream my entire workday, the actual work products that I worked on at the office. Unfortunately, I have not been able, or I got, no, gosh, brain, come back. Unfortunately, fortunate for me, unfortunate for the stream, I got a new job and I'm not able to stream my work content. Yeah, I told you I was wearing it. I'm not able to stream my work content. So what I'm doing instead is using an extended lunch break, because I pretty much can set my own hours, but I like to be finished with my workday by around 3:30 p.m., which means I start super early, take a 2-hour lunch break, and then and right around 3:30 go cook, go clean, go just do the rest of my day stuff with my wife, because I love spending time with her. Yeah, it's been really nice, I must say that. So anyway, because I want to have that as my standard, I kind of cut my stream down to 2 hours and only during the lunch. And so what we're doing though is continuing on with the type of work that I would be doing at my previous job and even at my current job. Like, I'm doing a lot of UI stuff, but other people design it and I just kind of implement it. But we're working on a financial management system project. We went through from the very beginning with some brainstorming ideas on what this app is going to do, created a project structure, created a GitHub repo for it using this project structure. And I think we did that in the opposite order. Then we came up with what entities we might need for the application itself, sketched out a database diagram, did some database code first, work using Entity Framework, and then sketched out the UI, and now we are designing the UI. So that's where we're at. We're in the design phase for the user interface. Once we come up with a good color scheme, layout, and all of that stuff, we will go back over to the application and work on, oh, I see what's missing, and work on getting this design into the actual application itself. I'm trying to take this approach called neumorphic. Soft as in Software showed it to me. Speaking of, quick shout out for him. He is just all of you guys. You're all really cool. But another really cool guy, laid back. I keep saying this, but my favorite part is when he makes a joke and it's so subtle, and he doesn't have as big of a reaction to it. It just kind of goes, boop, here's a joke. Moving on. No pause, no break, no nothing. He just goes, and it's so cool. I love it. But he does Office add-ins, and he's been using Blazor to do those Office add-ins. And I just never thought of doing that. I was like, you have Microsoft Office. The way that you do add-ins is very mystical and very, I have no idea what you would do. I'm used to using VBA with Office, so I assumed it was something to do with VBA. But he's using .NET, creating a Blazor pretty much client-side application, doing some JavaScript magic, and creating add-ins where you can do stuff, do cool stuff. So I love watching his streams. Check him out if you get a chance. Who else? What else? Today is Community Day, by the way, on my channel, which means that if any of you have anything that you feel like you want to talk about, just hop into a voice channel in Discord, and I will pull you into the stream room, which is a magical, invisible place with 4 walls, a roof, a floor, no windows, no doors. Once you get in, you can never get out until I say you can. There was also talk about skeuomorphisms on earlier iPhones, which I have open in this tab because I wanted to know what that one was. And I still don't think I fully understand skeuomorphism. But yeah, design concept of making items represented resemble their real-world counterparts. Okay, so yes, that is a very, very nice summary of that, BitKami. Thank you so much for that. So for example, this controller interface, or whatever this happens to be, looking like the actual compressor itself, even though this is just an electronic representation of it, and it probably has the same functionality but without hardware components. I think with iPhones it was where they used things like the clock and compass that actually look like real world items. Yeah, so then that's still similar to this. The whole point with neumorphism is that you're making it's an alternative to flat web design where you're making elements feel like they are solid pieces. So what I imagine this being is you took a vacuum sealer, you had a block right here, you had 3 dots, one that was flipped over, and then of course you have another block underneath that, and then you push the vacuum sealer down and you create this kind of it's 3D block on top of some surface as opposed to flat design, which you have it hovering above, which I had design examples of, except that I got rid of all of my flat design-ish things. And hello, V. V tries to chat. I saw you over in BitKami's chat. But yeah, it's a pseudo 3D, but I really just think of it more like a vacuum seal version of it, but also just more solid. I don't know. So I was trying it. It's not really working out on this hero section for the login card. But maybe if I didn't have the login card try to follow that, and this is at the base level. But it can't be because I have recessed input fields. I think it still has to do with the color. It still has to do with the color. So we'll try a different color on the card background. Not quite the biggest fan of this color, but we'll see what it looks like. No, that was stroke. This one. Yeah, that's too much. Yes, I also know Big Amy. I know Big Amy through Irish John Games and have just fallen in love with Big Amy's streams. They are so cool. He does so much. You have a lot that you get accomplished and that you actually do, Big Amy. It's so cool. Yup. I mean, I'm kind of surprised if you know them that you haven't seen me. Well, I guess like I am quiet most of the time because I'm usually working during the day. While I'm lurking on about 12 people's streams at the same time. Really, it's only two at most, two people that I watch at the same time. And then while I stream, I also watch people, like I was watching BitGamey up until he raided. I'm looking for Notepad. How do you get to Notepad? Pasta you there. And today is the 5th. What in the world? How the, what the, how the? That's okay with me. So I am kind of excited for time to move just a little bit faster. I have been able to get just about all of the project that I'm working on for the current client completed. And today I've been spending just about all day cleaning up the styling, making it easier to maintain. I will be writing documentation for it very soon, but that means that I'm doing very little actual new development work on the UI. I just really want it to be super duper clean. Then I'm going to have all of the UI projects. So let me just show you an example of what my project structure usually looks like. My name, man. How are you finding Figma? So I think Big Amy, you remember things that I wouldn't remember about other people. But I think Big Amy remembers that I'm not a designer. This is me trying to gain some skills while I'm doing this. And one of those skills is doing design before code. And that includes UI design. And so I'm using Figma because I found it to be a good tool for being able to sketch out UI. I've used Adobe XD before and I found it pretty easy. And Figma being a place that is accessible online, it's free. I'm like, why not give it a shot? And it's pretty easy to use. It's pretty intuitive. There are still things that I don't fully understand what I'm doing, or if I'm even doing it the right way, but it works for the most part. Irish John Game says Figma is so good. I'm really wanting to get good with it because of the how do I go to not my organization, not my community? This one. Because Microsoft put their mixed reality toolkit assets, like the what each thing looks like for mixed reality, they created a Figma that they allow you to clone and use so that you can sketch out your own experiences. And I really, 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 really want to design out the IDE for developers. Because if I can get a good sketch, then I could probably convince somebody that this is a good project to pursue. Making an IDE in augmented reality, and I'm saying it out loud over and over, hoping someone buys into the idea and starts it themselves. I would love to be a part of that team, by the way, but if someone else does it, I will benefit from it. As long as it's done well. But I want them to buy into this IDE that can be used in AR or VR Not in the same way that you would do a virtual desktop, not in the same way Mirage Desktop works on AR, but you actually are in a development environment in augmented reality or in virtual reality. I prefer augmented reality myself, um, where you are interacting with the various portions of the application to write software, to write an experience for AR and VR. That'd be so cool. Like, I don't know if you can picture this, but picture Irish John Games in VR, preferably with, something smaller than this thing that takes up his entire face, working on Rise of Piracy. Like all of this stuff that he's doing with Help Me Place, he's grabbing the the asset that he wants to place, cycling through it in his hand, and then placing it wherever he wants to place it with a motion and saying tree, 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 bunch of grass here, raise this part up, mountains, mountains. Look, now we have an island. Um, let's give our sandworm a cute little butt, and he's actually shaping the butt in front. Yeah, only 50 minutes late. It's okay, Abaddis. So I would find that to be quality entertainment, but also really cool to watch. Because give it to someone that has the skills to be able to create something like Rise of Piracy. Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Rise of Piracy, you'll most likely see a shout out. Happened already. For Rise of Piracy, it's currently on Steam for wish listing, and hopefully we'll have the pre-release, or I keep calling it pre-release, early access by the end of the year. That's his goal. So support him by wish listing it if you haven't. Just in case you didn't see the link, it is ER. Bang. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. So, those are the things that I'm interested in. I'm trying to switch it back to the community. Let's talk about things that you're interested in. I'm just going to be moving my mouse around all crazy like until somebody comes up with a topic. Effects. Drop shadow. Drop shadow. Drop 16 shadows. Drop 18 shadows. -4. Nope, I said -2. -2. Left and up. Blur 4. This one is supposed to be the lighter one. Yeah, it's just not quite having the effect. Especially without something to differentiate the background color from the shadow. And that's why I kind of gave it a border, but I'm not even seeing the drop shadow currently. Am I crazy? Oh, it's there. It's definitely there. No, it's not. What the? Hello? 2 and 2. Tommy says, where do you think static sites PWAs are a better use case than something like SPA? See, this is what I'm talking. Tommy, you're amazing. Thank you for being here. And then Big Amy wants to know, are you familiar with Victor Panamarov? Panamarov? He does great UI and has a newsletter. I follow him on Twitter. So I'm doing this from a I don't want to go too many external sources. I'm like, I have all of these things that I've accumulated over the years, and I'm testing myself on what do I recall as best practice? What do I recall as, I don't know. It's just something that I want to do this way without necessarily referring to other people's methodologies as much, even though I am. So I don't know. I don't know what the real answer is for what I'm trying to do. Oh. Oh. Oh, the border is covering up the drop shadow initially. So maybe this does need to be -4, -4. There. Ah. So that border, yeah, and I really don't like having the border at all. Border. So anyway, first let's go with Tommy's statement about where do we think static sites and PWAs are a better use case than something like a spa. So I think spas can be static. So I don't know that comparing those two is really the right comparison for what I think you're trying to get at. So spas are just any kind of application where you aren't navigating with a page refresh. You're navigating internally. It's one page with a whole bunch of views that get put in place of what you're currently looking at. A PWA is an app that can be installed on your native device, so you can run it as if it is an app on that native device, even though it's just a web application still. And then a static site is just a site that doesn't have any resources that it needs to retrieve from a server. It's all essentially, that was a lot of notifications. um, it's all packaged and sent over. Yeah, PWAs were supposed to be the next big thing. I think even Twitter used it, but then it went quiet. Yeah, so people have been opting. The alternative to a PWA would be an app that when you create it, you can install it as a native application and it can be run accessing native resources. So Electron would be an example of that. So would Maui. Maui is a great example of that. When you compile for targeting Android, then you have access to the entire Android device that the user allows you to use, as if you were installing a native Android application. Even though the way that I'm using it, even though you're just writing a web application, it's still going to be native on that device. So you'll have access to the camera, you'll have access to the fingerprint reader or the gyrometer, gyroscope thing, the odometer, if it has an odometer. So I see then. Yeah, that was a misunderstanding on my part then, actually. I guess my question was, where do you see a benefit to an application that navigates via reloads to one that doesn't? I'm going to say this because I haven't fully thought about it, and I want to think more about it, which is why I interrupted myself and I'm giving this long-winded intermediate explanation. But I think that spas really are, provided they are done well, the better approach. It's really hard for me to say words like all and every. So I will say in many cases, because I can't even say most, because I don't know the average use case. So in many cases, a spa is better than the traditional page that when you click on something, it either does a post back or takes you to another page as a go to this page, route, reload the entire contents of the next page, even if the majority of it is similar to the previous page you were just on. So I would have to say, from my experience, all of the apps that I have created are best suited as spas. even the ones that I already wrote using MVC, which again has that postback mechanism. JavaScript has solved this many times over. Yes, I said that. With just being able to replace the contents of the DOM for a specific element, inject elements into the DOM, and not have to reload the whole page. Instead, you're just making requests out and updating the DOM itself. Still too much for me. What if? What if? So I would say most of the time. A lot of the time. A lot of the time is still my answer. Yeah, that's better. I kind of like that. Broken Sword is here. Hello, Broken Sword. I honestly was thinking along a similar line. It just provides a better navigation experience and you can still manipulate the URL on loads even with the spot and push to history. Remember that. You can push the state of the application to history so that you can use the back button to go back to the previous state of the application, which may have been because of a route. It may have been because you changed the content of a text box, which I don't recommend pushing every text box change to history, but you could if you wanted to. It also avoids the issue with postback, which I don't know if you know about postback, but let's say you performed a post from your application, which then redirected you to another page. If you go back to the page that you did the post on, you'll get that message in your browser that says, you've previously sent information. Do you want to resend this information? And there are times that on the back end it's not handled well, so you could end up doing something like charging your credit card twice or doing something of that sort. So with spas, your posts are actual HTTP requests that happen from the page itself, but not as a route, as a render or route event, I guess. 8 out of 10 most of the time. So anyway, Broken Sword came in and he said, have you ever had problems hosting Blazor server apps in IIS? I have not hosted Blazor server apps in IIS. They were all PWAs, even though I have the Blazor server version side by side with it in the same solution. I have never deployed the actual server app. But I can imagine a lot of differences, a lot of things that would happen if you were doing a Blazor WASM mindset when trying to do a Blazor server application. Like, are you sure you're choosing the right scope for your dependency injections? Are you sure that you are releasing resources between requests? Because one session is in Blazor WASM is different than one session in Blazor server. Are you trying to do multiple database queries? So calling the same service or different services that use the same database context multiple times or at the same time. So there's a lot of these considerations that you would want to make with Blazor server that might lead to issues that you're having. If you want to talk more about that, like if you are actually running into issues with Blazor server on IIS, let me know. Other than that reverse proxy one, because I can't tell you the answer to that. It sounds like you found the answer to it, so I doubt it's that, but anything else, most likely. Do I have something that's close to this color? DDD. But DDD might be too dark. Yeah, that's too dark. King DDD. Yeah, I'm thinking something like this. Did I read everything so far? But I thought maybe there would be something that maybe I just can't think of. There might still be, though. Yeah, same. There's probably things that I'm overlooking because I haven't encountered them. Like when you make a request that does a redirect, for the entire page, for the entire route, like signing out and signing in. Those are two common things that you would want to do an actual route in the browser so that the headers of the HTTP client, the session, the cookies, and everything get updated, which I think you might be able to do using JavaScript. But essentially, it's anything that if you have a lot of isolated things that you don't. Yeah, I can't think of an example. Nope. So Broken Sword is saying I'm not, but we're enabling WebSockets between the load balancer. On Reddit and a few other sources, people seem to say that hosting Blazor server in IIS isn't very good for some reason. Oh, I can tell you a couple of the things that they might be talking about, but I just want to know all the cons because I'm about to do exactly that with some production line of business applications. They are Blazor server apps. By the way, the whole team is now on board with Blazor after the lunch and learn I did. That's so cool to hear. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. It's great, but right now, until we get our virtual.net, I'm going to get our VNet Azure Private Cloud set up for hosting Blazor apps. All we have is an on-prem IIS web servers. So something that I've heard about, but I have not had any experience with, but I can imagine can become a big issue for large websites is because in Blazor server. All right, Big Amy, thank you again for the raid. You're always welcome to lurk. You're always welcome to hang out for as long as you feel like it, for as long as you can stand it. But I will never be offended if you have other stuff that you would rather be doing. So thanks again for being here. So the thing that I've heard the most that I don't think is given enough credence is because of the way that the rendering happens in Blazor applications, which is there is a .NET runtime, and that has the Razor rendering engine. I don't know what it's called, and I keep forgetting the name of it, even though I try very hard to remember. You're using a lot of system resources to do all of those minuscule renderings that happen in an application. So with, let's say, an ASP.NET web application, the kind that has Razor pages in it, and it does postbacks when you click on a button that says submit and everything like that. The rendering happens once on the server when it's preparing the page to be sent to the client. Then you use stuff like JavaScript to do a whole bunch of interactions on the client side. For example, using clicks to expand a div by setting the adding a class to it or something. Or when you hover over a div and it expands without using CSS. So I would do that using CSS. I can only come up with CSS examples, dang it. But let's say it was stuff that you would do using JavaScript to manipulate the UI. populating a table with data. I don't know. You're doing all of that work on the client in those other types of apps. In Blazor, as those things happen, they're happening in C#. You're getting some kind of diff or whatever it is that happens that says, all right, what changed between what the DOM looks like now and what it should look like? Let's render what it should look like, of course, and then find that difference and then put that difference into the current DOM so that we can see that update happening. That all is going to happen on the server. So if you have a UI intensive application, for example, this, every time that I would click and drag this up and down, so I'm holding on to this text password and I'm dragging it around, and you can see that there is this highlight that's happening around the element above, or the group that it would be put in, this line that appears between where you're trying to drop it. All of that would have to happen on the server. It would need to be rendered every single time you move your mouse. And so you have 100 million people using your app at the same time, and they're all doing whatever kind of UI intensive process. That's your server that is eating that UI intensive process and then sending those small changes as rendered HTML to the client. Versus in Blazor WebAssembly, where the rendering happens on the client. So basically, long story short, Blazor server apps are more work for the server. So if the server is not that beefy, we need to be careful about our footprint and stability. So Blazor server apps eat more memory, I take it. Whatever it means for Blazor server apps to need to do all of the UI processing for all of the connected clients. And what I meant by I don't think it's given enough credence is I've heard this statement said multiple times throughout .NET Conf, MS Builds, all of the release announcements for Blazor, that it just seems like all you would need to do is scale out. And of course, that's what they would want you to do. Add more virtual machines, add more RAM, add more resources, and pay for more resources. But I think in the long run, it depends on how much UI work your app is going to do. Because I think from what I can understand about it, that the more DOM changes that need to happen, the more stuff will need to happen on the server. Hello, Soft Isn't Software. I was talking about you earlier. Thanks for being here. Thanks for lurking. So Broken Sword says, in my mind, I feel like Blazor apps would be more efficient because we're only sending the diff versus the entire HTTP post. But you're sending a diff for every action that happens, for every UI action, for every interaction you do that causes, yes, gossip, that causes some kind of DOM change that isn't handled by CSS or JavaScript is being processed on the server. So again, even though they're very small, like in terms of bytes, very few bytes, you're still doing a lot of them. So again, that's why I'm saying if it's not very UI intensive, Blazor server is going to be super duper fast, super duper performant. It's just going to be, the user is going to enjoy using your app. Would turning off server pre-rendering help at all? I think that would do the opposite. I think that would hurt. Because the pre-rendering step would say, are there actual changes that we're expecting to happen? If so, prepare what that would look like. Tommy says, I guess almost like the difference just between serving HTML from the server and just handling it with some handler JavaScript. Thank you so much, Epic of Sam. And she's been here for a bit. She probably came over on BitGamey's raid. I didn't want to say hi until you said hi. Didn't want to call you out or anything in case you were purposefully lurking. Definitely check out her stream. She streams on Thursdays and Sundays. I heard BitGamey say it earlier, so I'm going to remember. She's a gamer. She has lots of fun. She's high energy in the way that I'm bouncing off the walls, super high energy all the time. Thank you so much for the bits, though. But to continue with Tommy's statement, I guess almost like the difference just between serving HTML from the server and just handling it with some handler in JavaScript, but in Blazor. Yeah, so that's what Blazor WASM would be like. It's serving that initial HTML from the server, rendered once, and then everything else that you're getting is rendered on the client side. There is no server communication to get back what HTML should be rendered here. You may be going to the server to get the data to populate into rendered HTML, but on the client side, you're doing C# code, Razor content that is getting rendered into HTML content. Dukasoft is here. Dukasoft is here. Dukasoft is here. So yes, good questions. Good topics. Tommy saying the broken sword. Hi. How you doing? Got to show you the app again sometime. I'm still basically working on the same thing as 6 months ago, but it's 10,000 times different. Broken Sword responded, thanks. That's great. I hope you are enjoying it and are being valuable to the company you are a part of. You guys are awesome to each other and me. So nice. All right, a little darker. Okay, I'm going with this. I'm not going to mess with that too much. I'm sure it'll look different when we put it in CSS anyway. So we're going to go with this. I'm still thinking that the background color of this needs to be kind of the same bluish as one of these colors up here. Same thing with this. It's like, from what I saw in this thing here, we're kind of using the same colors for the background and the foreground. Aside for, I thought that was Max, but it was soft as in software using his points. Almost there. I do have a lot of stuff done in the bot. And pretty soon we'll be able to get it running all the time during the stream. But for now, I'm still learning some things. But yeah, so they're kind of using the same foreground color and then using the drop shadow. Like this foreground color is slightly lighter than this one, but then this one and at least the top left corner of this one look like the same color to me. It's possible they are the same color. Wrong one. Control Shift. So F, well, let's go. Which one of you doesn't have shadow or highlight? Really hard to find. Okay, so EAF 3FA. It's really close, but not quite. So this E0 color here is pretty close. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing to make it. I don't know if they're just relying on the components that are sitting on top of it to cast the shadows, or if they actually have some sort of gradient on this background. new trend in UI design. How long ago? Where's your date? 2003? Yeah, there was kind of this glass thing that was happening in 2010 and then flat and then neumorphic now. And I really do like this and I do want to go with it. I just need to figure out how to execute it in a way that's maintainable. Why would 0 be recessed? Unless it's currently being pressed, I guess. Yeah, so skeuomorphism, I guess, was the make it look like the actual thing. And then neumorphism is, I don't know, make it look like the actual thing, except stylized. Gosh. Ooh, ooh. I like this a lot. Gosh, I hope we can do this. I really want to. Um, so then Tommy's response to Broken Sword was, I do love it. It's been incredible. There's still just myself, our database guy, and our data analyst who builds the business intelligence reports. And we've started integrating all of our BI reports directly into the application and moved to Azure Active Directory. But we got a huge shout out from the president of the company 2 weeks ago during a company-wide meeting about all of it. That's awesome. Holy cow. It's been surreal. Broken Sword responded, what do you do? What do you know? He actually asked, what do you know about WebSockets? Are they server intensive? Like if I have a Blazor server app and it's being used by 20 concurrent users via WebSockets, via 20 users that are using traditional MVC apps with post request, is it heavier? The WebSockets portion. It would not be. As I understand it, and I could be completely wrong about this, so double check, verify, use Google resources. WebSockets is just an established connection. That's it. WebSockets says there are these things that you have a connection to that you could send messages to whenever you need to. So I guess the only overhead on that would be a keep alive thing. Can I still reach this endpoint that I have a connection to? If not, terminate it. Or time out for X number of minutes, try again, time out, and then retry for X number of times. So WebSockets by themselves are not intensive unless you're communicating a lot. And I mean, it has to be a massive amount via WebSockets. So that's my take. But um, Dugasoft says, I went into a tunnel. Keep alive failed. Ouch. How many times have you done that? Can I recommend not doing it? You're welcome, Broken Sword. So now I think this is Broken Sword's response to Tommy. That's great, man. Super awesome. Maybe you will be a part of that company for a long time and they will promote you to, and you will get to pick your own team and be the SME. If you want to do that, I would hope for that for you. Absolutely. But if you just want to be like me and I want to work on teams that are either they could be brand new teams, and I don't mind being a SME on the team. I don't know about leadership roles though. I want to be a grunt worker that will do the in the weeds coding. I don't ever want that taken away from me. I need it so much. Oh yeah, what happens if I turn this one into an above and not over? So not over, only up. And not over, only down. We'll keep it like that for now, because I think that's what I used for this first card, and I'm liking it better than the second card. Do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do. That's just the way it is. Actually, I like to copy first. Oops, wrong way. To the back. Wait. There. There. Uh-oh. Wrong way. Dang it. Wrong way. Okay, there you go. Broken Sword said, good point. Some people don't want all that. I get it. I just assume that when a business finds someone like that, they are naturally going to try to exploit that by giving the person a team. Yep, I agree. I agree. When they find a person like Tommy, absolutely. And he blushed. Kawaii. So he did respond to that, and he said, I'd love to have my own team, but as long as I can continue to work on code myself too. I think I agree with one line in the sense that I really love coding and creating things and want to be able to tangibly contribute to projects within the company. That could change at some point, but it's definitely how I feel now. Awesome. Watashi mo. Here's this color again. What does it look like on this background? I know I'm going to hate it. I mean, I'm going to love it. But I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think. Hey, hey, hey. What? And if we made it the exact same color as the background, this color up here, Dugasoft, how would it look if you used the background color of the image above? It would have an apostrophe in it, is what it would look like. Ah, somewhere down here. Samadana. Let's look at it as a whole. Actually, let's put some content on those, and we'll use this one as our template. Actually, you know what? I'm going to replace them. Because it should be simple enough because it'll give me the, yeah, that. Ooh, and what would happen if on this rectangle, I would do it on the group. Let's do it on the group, see what happens. What happens if we give you an inner shadow that gets moved, I don't know which way, up. Up is going to be my guess, and it's going to be wrong. I don't like it. Okay. Content. What type of content? This would be information about what you can do with this app to remind you, track your finances, watch your earnings grow, and plan. So let's just put some text in these. I really need to get. Actually, I'm just going to turn grepper off for now. I was going to say I need to change the hotkey. Do you have settings? Don't load grepper on this domain. Yes. Oh, thank you for reloading my page. So yeah, if I hit Control G, we're good to go. Good. What was this group? Hero. Wrong. F2 doesn't work. We'll put this and this inside of the hero. Good. Yes. All right, so let's just put some letters on here inside of info cards, specifically track card, plan card, watch card. This will say track, which again will go inside of the track card. You'll need to be a little bit smaller. So what size should text inside of a card be? It looks like I put it at 36, which is going to be 3 rems. 3 rems seems a bit much, but that's what it's going to look like on here at least. So we'll have a track, we'll have a plan, and we'll have a watch. So what do the cards look like on this page? Do I want an extra? Do I want an extra So like I'm sure there is a way for me to turn this into a component. Kind of think of it like a prefab, so that when I use that component in here, I can modify only just a few portions of it, like the background color or the text inside of the top bar or the icon if I have an icon. But what should this card look like? Hmm. I know that I want information on here 2 or 3, and that's going to be the same font as this one, or font size, as that one, which is 16. So I guess if I make 16 my base font, then 36 is only 2.6, 2.333, 16 over 16, or 36 over 16, 2.25. Whoops. All right, but that means for you, excuse me, Hugo, for each of you, you're going to have a, which probably goes on top, description. That was an easier way to do that. I don't know where it's going to be though. Oops, description. Description is going to be 16 point. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt anyone that might have wanted to talk about stuff. So if you still have topics you want to talk about, please do. And actually, there is no other comments. How would it look if you blah, 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 blah? We tried it and I like it ish. Just need to see it with other content on there, especially like pictures and stuff. So like for the landing page, I don't know how much it makes sense to have this neumorphism view because there are no actual objects on it. When we're doing stuff like entering data, then that one might make a difference. Like I would like a built-in calculator in the app. That'd be cool. Broken Sword says, I put in a request for change to our load balancers, but a solutions architect wants to know how or why we are using Signal R. How can I explain it to a solutions architect without them feeling like it will be a strain on their web servers? Well, you don't say what I said, which is for every single UI request, the server renders, or the message is sent to the server using a Signal R message that says, hey, I'm trying to perform this action at this place. Tell me what I should look like after performing this action. The server then generates the content for that and then sends it back using Signal R, using a Signal R message to the client that says, put this at this marker. Put this HTML at this marker, or replace this HTML at this marker. So that one's hard. Yeah, I don't think you'll have to open special ports because there will be that initial connection negotiated when you, yeah, when you uh, start your app. So prog testing is saying Do you really have a choice with Blazor server? You do? I don't know about the WebSockets as the road, Signal R is just the car. I thought Signal R was one of the possible technologies you could use for real-time communication. WebSockets was a fallback. Versus WebSockets is one word. SignalR uses WebSockets as its main transport type, but it can fall back to other types. Okay, so I need to get that straight in my head. Hey, look, it's Patrick God. I strongly recommend Patrick God videos. I mean, there are still some things that he does that I'm like, oh, that's weird. But I agree with just about all of what he does. It's crazy how similar my approach is to what he uses without us even knowing about each other. He probably doesn't know anything about me either. But now I know about him and I love his videos. But so yeah, it's confirmed at least in chat that SignalR uses WebSockets as its main transport type, but that can fall back to other types. Thank you, Zulius. Broken Sword is saying, for example, WebSockets is not enabled on our production server, but the Blazor app still works. I think it falls back to HTTP REST. Patrick God is good. I leave comments to support him on YouTube. Awesome. I am so glad to hear that. One of my favorite things to do is to compliment people that I have found to be valuable resources, as opposed to take the time out of my day to write a negative comment to someone else. There are a lot of people that do that already, and I want to be one of the people that just gives positive feedback when I believe in what they are doing or saying, when I have actually benefited from it. Benefited. Just curious. I mean, it's kind of, if I go with this, so this looks a lot more like the examples, but if I go with this, our primary theme for the app is going to be this kind of pastel lavender. Ugh. But that actually kind of worked. All right, I would really like to try, just because it's taken me forever to get content on these cards, I would really like to try these with that background color. Yeah, that's definitely the effect right there. It has to be the same foreground color as the background. Because I'm pretty sure this is the same color as the background. Pretty sure. No, it's not. Well, I like it that slightly lighter then. But even then, yeah, this is absolutely doing it. Okay, I think I get it. I think I get it. And now it also depends on how much of it we want to be dark. So if I swapped the shadow, the drop shadow layers, whoops. Oh, interesting. I put the effects on the background. Let me put the effects on the card itself. Copy properties. I just want to copy the effects. Is that a thing? No. I have to recreate the effects. Background from the image seemed distracting when you added the text, but thanks for trying. What I could do is just turn the entire page into that background color. But again, it just turns to that pastel kind of thing. I appreciate the feedback though, because I don't think I'd be able to come up with very much. I explicitly put my time. My time. My time. Okay, let me do this real quick. I got distracted. 0 minus, or actually, since I'm swapping them, this would be 0, 4, and this one would be 0 minus 4, minus 44. You know, it's exactly what I said. Jerk. What else do we have? We have a spread, or not a spread, a blur of 14. And then the color. Oh, wow. Those two layered on top of each other, though. Dang it. Whatever. I really liked it them layered on top of each other. But that's okay. That's too busy. Too much. Way too much. Oh, what color was the drop shadow for the lighter color? Black. For the lighter color. White. So I think I just put them in the same order on accident. There. Wait, that's not what I meant. I still need the, the top half of it to be the light color. I still need the top half of it to be the light color. This guy. This guy. But I need them to be in the opposite order. And I just made that an inner shadow. What? How am I? What am I? How am I breaking things? How am I breaking this? Okay, that looks correct to me. And then the 80 for the dark color, 33 for the light color. All right, there we go. Okay, so back to chat. Prog Testing asked, do you really have a choice with Blazor Server? As far as using Signal R, I don't think so. I mean, kind of, yes. You could, and I don't know how you would do it, but you could have some fallback completely that if it doesn't allow real-time communications to Razor pages. Yeah, or even MVC. Both of those technologies could be available in your Blazor server app. I just installed Brave, and what is that app you are using for the start page? I mean the extension for the start page in the browser. Oh, this one, Initab. INITAB. I don't know if there's an extension for Brave unless it uses the same extensions as Chrome. You are welcome. Andy time. Here's another thought. What if, what if I'm jumping around so much on this thing because I really, really want, I want to get this, I want to understand it and then get it to work right. And then make you whatever color these guys are. I didn't like that. Welcome back to you. I need to stop trying. I need to put content on here. Yeah. Which also means that I need to apply this to these two. So I guess I'll retype all that other stuff. Are you gonna help me out here? Hello? No? Am I moving too fast? Oh my goodness, why are you being mean? Oh, you know what? I completely forgot about that. That one should be easy to place because it lines up with the right edge of the login form. Help me place. Somebody help me place. If you guys didn't know, Irish John Games has a plugin for Unity called Help Me Place, and that's why I keep saying that. And if I understand it correctly, it's where you can load a whole bunch of assets into this object, and then you can cycle through those objects when you're just trying to place them in your scene. Cool stuff. Cool technologies. Oh, oof. No idea what to put for these. Still. This is my... What were the three of them? There was track, there was plant, and there was... What was the last one? Watch? What did he even mean by that? Okay. Track your finances using easy. Can I do wrapping? I already checked for that, didn't I? Auto width, auto height, align top, middle, bottom. left, center, right, underline. Yeah, I don't think there is a wrapping. I think I have to manually type in myself. It's fine. It's fine. This is fine. I'm good at wrapping my own text. Using simple entry. You know what? Do we have any descriptions in our design? Not there. I keep alt tabbing and it's like it's still in this browser window. Terrible, terrible wording. I'm gonna need help with that. There. There we go. I think I have the wording perfect for all of these. Track your financial accounts and the related transactions and balances. Not wordy at all. Plan your savings for future spending. Not the only thing you're going to be planning. I mean, since that's the only thing you're going to be planning. Watch your money grow or shrink if you don't manage it well, which you should since you're using this app. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so I guess my question is, I have many questions. I just can't get it out yet. The question is, do I want an image or an icon on this thing or not? Okay, so our shadow, we know that we need to be more. That's looking really bad. Why do you look so much worse? I mean, the inner shadow definitely isn't helping, so let's take care of that. Why is it affecting this one so much more than this one? I copied this button. Oh, because I have two sitting on top of each other. I think I deleted the wrong one though. Okay, still looks bad. Take me back. Deleted. All of these are white, and your textuses need to be the off-white color. That'll help a little, provided I can use the right clickingness. Okay, so yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. What if we put you back at 4? Yes. Yes. So the blur for smaller items does need to be less. Wow. But that's kind of making it seem like the overall blur, which this goes inside of here. The overall blur for this card. Hmm. But now I'm running into an issue where it's hard to differentiate the button from the raised up card itself. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take this button and put it on the other two. Let me get the background color the same as this background color. And if I did it for you too, yeah, that doesn't break anything. So I'm going to San Francisco. I'm sure to meet some fine people there. I'm gonna put this on these two cards. And we're going to create a second version of all of that. Over here somewhere. That does not use the shadow thing. So for now, the first thing that I'm going to do is get rid of all of the drop shadows on the raised items, which I think I can do a little bit quicker if I Control click. No. No. I think the only thing that's making these look like cards is that drop shadow. Wait, what? When did that happen? I think I did a... No. Time. Slow down. Stop. 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 1 minute, you. You go here. Okay, that gets rid of those weird groups. I don't know where those weird groups came from. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ian Zealot Schmidt. Ian Zealot Schmidt? Lancelot? Lancelot. That's an L. Lancelot Schmidt. I can read. Hush you. Look, I know how to read. I can also write in English sometimes. Go. Dukasoft. Appropriate. I mean, inappropriate. Stop it. There. Jeez. Okay. And then track. You go there. All right, I got this. We're going to finish this real quick. So hi, hi Lancelot. You have found the Daily Code Fun. Today is supposed to be Community Day. We had some discussions earlier, but it kind of trickled off. I don't know if it was because I discouraged the conversation. I hope not, but they were great discussions. I'm close to the end of my stream for the day, and unfortunately, well, fortunately, I guess, the weekend is happening very, very soon. So we're going to have an enjoyable weekend. I don't stream on the weekends, but we have plenty of amazing people in our community that do stream on the weekends. For example, Irish John Games. Epic of Sam streams on Sunday. So definitely check them out if you are looking for streams over the weekend. I will be back on Monday. But before I do, I'm going to copy this, duplicate it, is what I meant, move it over, put you there. And now we're going to see what happens when I get rid of, the drop shadows on these. These backgrounds don't have drop shadows, correct? Dang it. And that's for the wrong one. Whatever. This is going to be our neumorphic version. Another follow. Zupotai. Thank you so much for the follow. Neumorphic. So we're just doing some design for an application that we've been working on during the stream. We are showing a full stack application from design to implementation, beginning to end using .NET. Blazor, when Maui is official, we will then add the Maui component to it because we will have all of our UI in our Blazor library and all of the components themselves will be available for use in that Maui application. Is this the right one? This is not the right one. That's this one. Okay, so let me expand these. grab the getting started buttons. Oh, it's Julius. It's his bot account. Yes, please feel free to test your bots in the stream. Absolutely. But thank you for the follow on your bot account. He's like, you know what? It's taking you forever to write a bot. I'm gonna see what's taking so long. And he's like, bots aren't that hard. Look, I made one in 2 seconds. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? Everything. Anyway, welcome back to this. On Monday, though, reported for botting. Your botting is invited, Zubotai, aka Zulius. You're definitely welcome to use my stream with your bot. Listen to chat, respond to chat, anything you want. Wait a minute. Now that doesn't make sense. Why would you do that? Thank you is what I mean to say. You just Julius is like, wait, did you just give sub my bot? Oh, really appreciate you, Soft. One more for my 42 streak. You're trying to reach 42 gift subs. I see. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for supporting the channel in that way. You definitely don't have to do that, but I am grateful that you do. So thank you for that. Again, I'll be back on Monday where we will continue the rest of this design. Make sure to check out all of our other community members, Softer Than Software, who just gave us some hype. I think that's some hype. Irish John Games, Bit Gamey, Bardaki comes in here every now and then. I already said Softer Than Software. Swaymer was in here earlier. I don't know if I actually greeted you, Swaymer. I hope I did. Oh man, he streams on occasion as well, and he does CAD plugins, but he also does a mix of making bots, learning Blender, playing some video games on occasion. It's been a long time since Broken Sword has streamed, but he has streamed in the past. So if ever he goes live and you feel like checking him out, do that. Epic of Sam, she's an amazing streamer who streams gaming. She plays this match 3 competitive against AI, competitive against a computer game that I'm so addicted to match 3 games. So plus it's a card collector. It's a card collector and a match 3, but then she also plays other games as well. Who haven't I mentioned? Live coding streams once every quarter or so. He was in here. He's almost always lurking, which I appreciate. I can't think of anyone else. I'm sorry if I forgot anyone else. I know that there's one person that's like right there at the tip of my brains. But anyway, thank you all for being here. Thanks for hanging out. I will talk with you again the next time I see you. If it's Monday, then it'll be Monday. Otherwise, have a fantastic weekend until the next time I see you, which I'm hoping is Monday. And we'll continue with this journey. We'll make the second version of the design, at least for the landing page. For the rest of the app, maybe we will go with this neumorphic design, but at the moment, it doesn't really seem to fit this app. That's what I'm thinking. So we'll find out more. Tune in next time. And for anyone that does watch back the videos on YouTube, the yesterday's video should be posted now because I've been scheduling it to be posted right after my stream. I just started doing that yesterday. And that's it. That's all for now. Enjoy. I'll see you next time. Bye.